Welcome back to MythQuest, where today we are exploring the possibility of the existence of Dracula. Nearly everyone in the world has heard of this most famous vampire. This is Dr. Katie Sachs, a vampire researcher and demonologist at Harvard University who has been studying these creatures for 9 years.
Now, beings who fed on blood are believed to have existed since the beginning of time, but the actual concept of vampire was first seen in the English language in 1734. But of course, the idea of a vampire, of a being who fed on the blood of humans, has been used in literature way before.
Germans, Serbians, ancient Greeks, Persians, and Russians all had vampire-like creatures in their folklore before the term vampire was coined. Even though almost every culture has a spirit or demon associated with feeding on the life essence of humans, the most famous is Bram Stoker's Eastern European Dracula.
The name Dracula is proposed to have originated from the Wallachian 15th century ruler Vlad the Impaler. See, Vlad joined the Order of the Dragon, which was organized to defeat the Ottoman Turks, and he took the name Dracula, meaning son of dragon. There is, however, no evidence that says that Stoker wanted Dracula to be Vlad the Impaler. It simply seems to be where he got the name. Stoker was also influenced by an Irish author and the Hungarian legend of a countess who fed on the blood of human women.
While Bram Stoker may not have meant his vampire to be one and the same with the 15th century ruler, he did make Dracula an infamous monster. Since the novel's publication, researchers have spent years trying to prove the existence or non-existence of these creatures. One such researcher and explorer, Shayne von Henry, has spent almost 12 years traveling throughout the Balkans and Eastern Europe gathering information on the vampire Dracula.
My fascination started with Dracula. Well, I was just a small boy, you see, around 8 years old. My family, we were traveling in Bulgaria, vacation. And it was all going quite well, in fact, until my Uncle Thomas, rather eccentric man, but I loved him, he was killed by wolves, by some sort of animal, in the forest. We lost him, or so we thought. A few days later, we were moving back to our hotel room, and I saw something in the alley. So I walked down the alley, naturally, and I shined my flashlight on it. And I know for a fact, my father, my mother, neither of them would believe me. But it was my Uncle Thomas, it was nobody else.
Shayne von Henry saw his supposedly deceased Uncle Thomas, bloated, purplish-looking, and his eyes were fiercely bloodshot. He knew without a doubt that it was, in fact, his uncle.
So ever since then, I guess you could say I devoted every free moment I have to my pursuits of Dracula.
According to Mr. von Henry's research, Dracula is not just a folk legend. He has found numerous eyewitness accounts in the form of diaries, personal letters, government investigations, and church documents.
The most critical and most integral piece of a document to the Dracula fame is something I came across in my research. There was this young lady. Her name was Anka. Her family lived in Romania in the 1800s, and a lot of people don't know her story, but it's an important one.
This is the picture of 19-year-old Anka. Her entire family died over a 3-month period, leaving only her father, and her young sister. Anka kept detailed notes of her relatives' deaths in her journal.
They were always very pale, very pale. They usually had bloodshot eyes, very red. And they seemed to have a very distinctive double circle mark on the necks.
After investigating a noise one night, Anka found her brother, now buried for 2 weeks, attacking their father. Anka fled with her little sister to Croatia, and from that point on, she did nothing but research vampires.
She kept very precise, documented details in her journal the rest of her life as she did her own research, much like my own, about what could have happened to her family.
Today's vampires drink scientifically engineered blood, fight werewolves, and sparkle. But behind our modern versions, is Dracula real? Can journals, eyewitness accounts, and folk tales combine to prove his existence? Stay tuned for more on Myth Quest.
I am a vampire,